and welcome to the May 21st, 2026 meeting of the Bismarck Board of Park Commissioners. I will call the meeting to order and ask Julie to call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson?
Here.
Herzog?
Here.
Redmond?
Here.
Jeske?
Here.
President Zimmerman?
Here. The next item of business on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I would ask you to please rise and join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Gilbertson, second by Commissioner Jeske. Any further discussion? If not, Julie, if you will call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson?
Aye.
Herzog?
Yes.
Redmond?
Aye.
Jeske?
Aye.
President Zimmerman?
Aye. Next item on the agenda is our featured partners and programs. We have two long-term partners for the Bismarck Park District and the Bismarck community, of course. Our first is the Theo Art School, and the Executive Director, Liliana Norby, will present before the board. Liliana? And welcome.
Thank you. My Vanna White tonight is my husband. He's taking. And this time I'm bringing something. Last time I didn't.
Oh. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. No. That's awesome.
That's fine. Okay. Oops. Okay, I'm ready. Good evening, board members and Mr. Director Kevin. How you doing? How's everyone doing?
Great.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to celebrate the OR School with you. I do have to read everything because my audience are preschoolers, so it's hard for me to, they really listen to me, but here I'm having a hard time, so I'm going to try my very best. Thank you. Again, thank you for allowing me to be here to celebrate the OR School. Today, I am honored to share a story of creativity, commitment, and community. This presentation is about more than our little art school that could. It's about 34 years of opening our doors, nurturing imagination, and helping generations of artists discover their voice. It is also about where we are right now, the wonderful building that houses us, and the bright future ahead for a very talented generation of young artists. The OR School was founded in 1992 and has become a lasting creative force in the Bismarck community for more than 3 decades. Theo has offered art education for all ages and skills, building a reputation on access, encouragement, and artistic excellence. Our mission, Art for All, Share the Love of Art, reflects a commitment to making art welcoming, affordable, and transformative for children, adults, and families alike. Celebrating a 34th anniversary means recognizing not only longevity but impact. Over the years, the OR School has served tens of thousands of students and has helped make creative learning a living part of our region. It has adapted through changing times, COVID, expanded opportunity for young people, and continue to show that art education matters. This anniversary is a chance to honor every staff member, family, supporter, volunteers, and all students. Most important, help build that legacy with our partners like Parks and Recs. The summer. We are in the summer. We have always a summer celebration for the last 17 years since I've been the director. Summer has always been a season of energy, discovery, and inspiration, and it is a perfect time to celebrate our anniversary. Through camps, classes, workshops, and special events, summer brings to the building life with color, imagination, and excitement. It is a season when young artists try new materials, build confidence, and create work that reflects more joy and growth, regardless of the age. A summer anniversary celebration reminds us that art is not only something we teach, but something that we live together. The 17th annual Art Attack Summer Camps started this week with 35 students from private schools. The private schools are out, so we have a camp for them. Since February, when we start our registration, we have already received over 200 registrations. Our building and creative home. TOR School is housed in the upper and lower levels of the Francis Leach High Prairie Art and Science Complex. This building is more than a location, it's a creative home for all. With large rooms, a safe environment, and welcome atmosphere, and a space for imagination to grow, whether you're a child or an adult. It gives students a place where they can explore and experiment and belong. A sense of belonging through childhood, for me, through art, reflects everything that we want them to be, to feel safe and have a place where they feel that they belong. The building supports the work happening inside each and every day, making it possible for artists of all ages to gather and create in an inspiring environment. The future of TOR School looks bright. Looking ahead, the future of TOR School looks incredibly bright because of the talented generation of young artists coming through its doors for the last 3 decades. These students bring curiosity, courage, originality, and vision. They are not only learning a technique, they are learning how to express who they are, how to solve problems, be creative, and how to connect with the world around them. When we invest in young artists, we invest in the future of our community. Their imagination, their discipline, and fresh ideas will continue to shape the next chapter of TOR School. Young artists are developing confidence along with creative skills. Families and the community continue to support art education. The school remains committed to be accessible, to provide scholarships, full scholarships for each and every student that cannot afford our tuition program, and opportunities. TO continues to provide a safe and inspiring place for artistic growth. In closing, as we celebrate TOR School 34th anniversary, we are celebrating again the history, the heart, and the hope. We honor the vision that began in 1992, the community that has sustained it, the building that has sheltered its creativity, and the young artists that will carry it forward. TOR School reminds us that art is not a luxury. It is a gift. It is a language and a powerful way to build connections. The future looks bright, and at TOR School, that future is already taking shape. Thank you. I would like to share some of the projects that the kids did this last summer.
Please do.
So these are popsicle skills. Again, we continue with our strong recycling program.
Can you turn it so the
you see
camera?
each and every
Can you turn it so the camera can see it, Liliana?
So each and every piece, popsicle stick was created by the kids in 1 week, the week program. It's one of our summer camps from last year. I know, it speaks to me. No. They have fun, which is important, you know. Again, part of being creative is sharing, and they love to share their artwork. These are their hands holding the stars. We always make sure we keep the names of the kids in the back. So when they come back, before they graduate from high school, William knows that he contributed to this artwork. The same we do with our artwork here. The kids create a city that reflects how they feel that day. This one was created by a team, part of our summer camps. Simple, but it brings a lot of creativity. And this one the kids created for one of our former students that was having a hard day. And they say, no matter how you look your day, this always looks bright. That's what they say. Again, thank you. I hope you like your gift. It has a lot of good stuff. The kids helped me create it.
Liliana, will you stand for some questions or comments?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Start with the
Yes, Mr. Gilbert.
Commissioner Redmond. We're back to that again.
Hi, Liliana.
Hello,
Nice
Miss.
to see you. Tell me how it's on? Oh, thank you. Tell me how your programming changed once Gateway to Science moved out and you got to move upstairs and have more free reign of the building. So how did that change your programming or expand it? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Our program really expanded. You know, we were down in the basement where DOR school started. No windows, but, you know, the kids were still having a fun time. The problem is that we were just limited in capacity, and we were always kind of running around in the building trying to find a room, like the community room. And we are in our school. We are going to get messy. So it's hard for us to work in a room like that because we didn't want the other of the members in our building to feel that we were just getting the floor stain or the wind or the doors or the chairs. The idea came that the opportunity when Gateway to Science moved, for me, it was the windows. And every night I would think about it and I'm like, nope, I just can't. I just cannot do this. We just can't. You know, although I knew that if I would bring it up to Bismarck Parks and Recs, they were going to support us. But it's hard. You know, you don't know if it's going to work. You don't know if we're going to get enough kids to fill the rooms. But I was over the idea that from the very beginning, even if it was one kid staring at me in a class, I was still going to go ahead and keep that class. That has been my mission statement. Windows, that was absolutely something that we were looking forward to have. But the former Gateway to Science area had carpet. So that's the first thing that I asked our landlord. Do you care about it? No. Okay. I still didn't want to do it. Then one morning I said, let's go for it. We're just going to do this. And we have. And we transformed it. And we made it a mixture of gallery, studio, painting location. You want to come in, you can paint here. Surrounded by the kids and the parents. The community support, the parents that came and take a look at it, they were like, wow, what have you done with this? I said, well, a little bit messy, you know, but we're here. So location was the windows. This is incredible. But the door, there was a beautiful, you have been in our building, and we have a beautiful wooden door. I thought I opened the door one day, and I saw the grass. I saw the beautiful area where the kids could play with the trees and run, and I could see them. And that's what, it has brought a lot of the different feelings, not just for myself, but for the staff, for the parents, for the community. They feel more safe than ever because they know that we have a place where they can run outside, we have a place where they can run inside. We had totally convert it into something where everyone is welcome to create. And we still keep the basement for our field trips, you know. So and we still borrow rooms when we have the opportunity. But again, what I wanted to focus in this evening was about our building, the Francis Art and Science Complex. How much joy has brought to me, to our families, to our kids, where you feel safe, ample parking, is the gift that keeps on giving, not only to me, but to the families, to the community, to the kids. Yes, sir?
Commissioner Jeske?
Thank you, President Zimmerman. Liliana, I can't tell you how much I love Theo Art School, and having a 3-year-old granddaughter, I can't wait to get her enrolled in some of the classes that you offer, although she'd probably just eat the paint at this point. But she does love to make art. If I want to find a schedule, can I find that on your website?
Yes, ma'am. We have the preschool mini art camps. They go in the morning from 9 to 11:30. That's pretty much the much we can keep them.
Yeah.
So yes, they are in the calendar in our website, and in our website we have every tab for each camp, and as well as a calendar with more information.
Okay.
So that we started this coming week.
Okay.
And then we have our school age. We are in the summer, we have to focus in the summer art camps. The summer art camps have been very good to us and to the families. So we try to be as flexible as we can. We offer as much as we can, but the most important part, we focus in make it affordable for everyone. There's not going to be there's going to be a family that may have more than one child, and they all want to come to camp. That can get a little bit expensive, so you have to keep it affordable and full scholarship. The same goes with our summer camps. You know, everyone is welcome. You know, we had turned out more flexible, you know, if there's only one day that they need, we always available for them. So this week was the private schools, and next week is everyone. And so we just always focus in the summer. We have year-round calendar. We have programs in our year-round calendar, and we also offer school. I always say, when school is out, Theo's in, because we're always going to have that one-day camp that you really, really need. If you are a young principal that has young kids that are graduating from high school, but they were former students at Theo Art School, they
Yeah,
were there.
absolutely.
You know, trying to always be there for the community. Granddaughter, 3 to 5-year-olds preschool mini art camps, half a day in the morning, and we have a really nice schedule for them. So there's plenty of potty time and snack time, and of course, art time.
Now, my other question, I just want to say, too, that I think this is so great that you offer this for the younger kids. Commissioner Redmond and I grew up in Jamestown. I went to a private elementary school, and art really wasn't a thing back then. And I was so excited when I got into senior high and I could finally take an art class, because I love and appreciate art. So this is so great that you offer this. The other thing is, I've hired you to be face painters before for Capital City Christmas. Are you going to be at the Larks events?
We do a lot of side gigs.
Yeah.
You know, we have to try to, as much as we can. You know, again, the future looks so bright.
Yeah.
Our generation, if they're getting younger and younger and younger, and they're ready.
Yeah.
They're just waiting to turn 11. They're like, can we volunteer? So I have a good, strong
That's cool.
volunteer program from the kids that they feel that they're a little bit too cool for being in a camp. So they come and volunteer with us, and we have 2 face painting art workshops for that age group, for them to start learning how to do face painting. And then they can come and join us, whether it's the Capitol Affair, whether it's a private event that you hosted. You call me. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, and I know you were part of Flurry Fest, because I took my granddaughter to New Generations Park, and she had a fairly large unicorn put on her face.
They're just like, can you do this? Like, oh, okay. I'm like the backup of the backup of the backup of the face painting. Like, well, I try. But yes, Flurry Fest is part of Bismarck Parks and Rec, and every time they email us to ask us if we would like to, Absolutely. Miss Paula Redman is the first one that invited us 16 years ago.
Yeah. Well, just thank you for what you do for the students or for everybody who loves and appreciates art.
Thank you. We try to be that outlet for that age group that your granddaughter is about to start, which is the grade school. When you get into kindergarten for pre-K, all the way to fifth grade, there's no art in the public schools since 2011. So we try to get them, because if you don't try at that age group, by the time they get into middle school, they're just like, I wanted to do this, but I can't. So we really encourage them. Thank you.
Commissioner Gilbertson?
Thank you, President Zimmerman and Liliana. I don't know whether it's your impeccable memory or that my kids were that memorable when they were there, but yes, my children were frequent visitors to Theo Art, and I still have pictures from their art endeavors on my wall and in my office, and it truly is an amazing thing. And and you guys moving upstairs and expanding, and that's just one more example of if you build it, they will come. I mean, whether it's Theo Art School, the BMX track, the pool, every time that those things expand and those opportunities are given to our children in this community answers the call, and those continue to expand to people. So just thank you for what you do and what you bring to the community. And yes, as Theo Art School answered the call many times, especially when my wife was like, "What are we going to do with the kids at Theo Art School?" And they were always excited as could be to go. So
Those are
thank
the
you.
calls that it makes you feel thinking, okay, we're doing something here.
Yeah.
And it's just this, again, is that gift that keeps on giving, rewarding as well. I have former students that they graduate high school, college. I get invited to their open house. Some of them get married. And now I have two that their kids are starting preschool meetings this year. Okay, but it keeps me young. It keeps me going. I don't feel a day old.
Awesome.
I appreciate your time, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Leon.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good evening.
might go
Oh,
here.
yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And thanks to your able assistant there.
Glad to assist.
You didn't have a choice. Thank you.
Our next featured partners, following in a great tradition here, the Bismarck Park District, to be involved in the arts in the community, is the Sleepy Hollow Summer Theater and Arts Park. And we have with us presenting tonight Gavin McCollum, but I certainly would mention our other guests there as well, Susan and Stephanie. Well, I'm looking right at them, and one name goes right out of my head. But good evening, ladies, and good evening, Gavin.
Thank you and good evening. On behalf of Susan Lundberg and Stephanie Delmore, my fellow Sleepy Hollow board members, and staff of Sleepy Hollow Theaters and Arts Park, I want to take a few moments to thank the Bismarck Parks and Recreation District for their continued support and partnership since 1990. I'm happy to report that there is at least one Sleepy Hollow kid sitting on this very board, so we would like to take a little bit of credit for the fine citizen that Commissioner Gilbertson has become.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
As a way of introduction, I have been involved with Sleepy Hollow since the year 2003, when my oldest daughter, in grade school at the time, surprised her parents by announcing she was going to try out for the Sleepy Hollow production of Oliver. Since then, as both my daughters eventually participated in shows for the next 11 years, I progressed from casual observer to part-time volunteer, to almost full-time volunteer, to master carpenter, to light tower fundraiser, and finally to a member of the Sleepy Hollow board. I've seen the facilities grow from a built-up plywood stage, a dark parking area of gravel and mostly mud, a maybe not so code compliant light system, to the wonderful, modern, robust hidden gem that it is today. So it is my pleasure to be able to speak to you about a program that's near and dear to my heart. We had a successful run of shows last season, which included The Wizard of Oz and Grease, with almost 11,000 attendees through the run of both shows. We had great crowds, energetic kids, and fantastic weather, minus a couple of wildfire smoke days where the kids needed to move inside at one of the high schools for practice. We are very excited to announce our two main shows for 2026, Seussical Jr. from July 9th to the 18th, and Shrek from July 23rd to August 1st. Auditions were completed in March, and from the staff's perspective, it was a bit of a forced march, with 2 full days of 10-minute auditions from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., no breaks. After all was said and done, over 140 area students will take part in both shows, either in the cast or orchestra. One of the beautiful things about Sleepy Hollow is that there is room for children to show off a variety of talents beyond singing and dancing. If a student desires a less visible path, there are roles for those interested in backstage assignments and technical support. Additionally, over 400 volunteers will arrive this summer to help with parking, concessions, and the like. And one of our favorite elements is what we call the Rising Stars, made up of children as young as 8 years old, who will perform prior to our first show. This year, there will be 20 of them who are getting their first taste of the stage, in between maybe waving and smiling at their family and friends. Already the staff is preparing for the upcoming rehearsals, choreography, costuming, and planning required to make 2026 another successful run. And speaking of our staff, we have some of the best theater specialists in the region blending their professional talents with the budding talents of our students. Local musical veterans Al Carey, Brittany Bearshart, and Chris Dosovich will be leading the vocal and musical direction. And we are so grateful that Laura Muth, an original Sleepy Hollow kid and former winner of the North Dakota High School Theater Director of the Year, will return to Bismarck to share her talent and love of theater by directing both productions. As we look toward the future, we have plans to build a beautiful pavilion to cover the stage, which will enhance production quality, extend the season, create a more pleasing visual for the audience, and protect the main stage from the harsh North Dakota weather. We will need much help from many people and organizations for this to happen, and we are hopeful the generosity of those around us will shine once again. In closing, I want to sincerely thank the Bismarck Parks Board for all you have done for Sleepy Hollow over the years. Just last year, with your help, we were able to add a wheelchair ramp to the stage and a defibrillator. We have had an excellent relationship with Director Klipfel and want to wish him well in his retirement. We're also very much looking forward to meeting and working with Director Leaker. Job Christensen, a North Dakota native, professional theater actor, and veteran Sleepy Hollow director, once said, "A strong arts program is at the heart of every strong community." 26 years ago, as an engineer by trade, I might not have agreed. But as I saw my daughters grow through this program and saw hundreds and thousands of our area children from all walks of life come together as a team through hard work and late nights to display their voices and faces to the delight of people from all over our state, I now know it to be true. Sleepy Hollow is a place where our children grow while at the same time serving as a unique, quality tourist destination for everyone. But none of this is possible without sponsorship and support from area citizens, businesses, and government entities like yourselves. For that support, we are eternally grateful to this board and this city. Finally, I want to personally invite all of you to a night under the stars this summer. I know a couple ladies that can get you a ticket. Thank you. I will now stand for questions, but please do not ask me to sing or dance.
Thank you, Gavin. We'll start with former or alumnus Commissioner Gilbertson.
Thank you, President Zimmerman. Yeah, and, I mean, I could talk for, I don't know, hours, but quite a while about what the Sleepy Hollow Summer Theater meant to me growing up and the part that it played in a very formative part of my life. I mean, true, some of the rules that exist now might be because of I and some of the our former cast members, but it truly it truly is an amazing, amazing thing. And again, as I said, like with the Theo Art, so just like anything else that exists for our children in Bismarck, that, you know, when I was in it, and I would assume now as well, like, we would rehearse for hours a day, but that's where we were, and those were our friends, and that's how we became the people we did. And I mean, and I had the honor of being a Sleepy Hollow parent as well, and it was just amazing to see my daughter have that same experience that I did. And I mean, she chose ballet, so we're involved in that heavily, but she did have that experience, and it was amazing. And it truly is a gem for the community, and the testament is by how many people show up every summer. And it really is an amazing thing. And I mean, I will be forever grateful for the place that Sleepy Hollow holds in my own heart, just because it was part of my journey and made me who I am today. So thank you for continuing the work. And Susan and Stephanie, thank you for everything you've done and for being there for many, many, many years as part of my life. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Commissioner Jeske?
Thank you, President Zimmerman. Gavin, you said you had 11,000 people at last year's 2 productions. Is that the largest amount of people that you have had, by recollection?
Actually, we had 13,380 people in that.
That's phenomenal. I grew up in Jamestown, and there was we had a community of 15,000 people. So when you think about this, it is a very large city in North Dakota. I'm looking at your little handout here, and I'm so proud that I'm affiliated with 2 organizations that support you, so Capital City Christmas and Bismarck Parks and Rec. And just thank you for all you do. Like Commissioner Gilbertson had said, the role that you play in the lives of the children in our community is phenomenal. And thank you for all you do. You said you've been eating your Wheaties and getting ready for the upcoming season, lifting weights, I'm sure, drinking energy drinks, you know, so keep it going. And we look forward to this season.
Commissioner Redmond?
Thank you, President Zimmerman, and thank you, Gavin, and Susan and Stephanie for being here. And you came here to say thanks, but it's really all of us that should be thanking you. When I wrote down the numbers, I mean, 140 students this summer, that's a lot of bodies to be keeping track of and all busy. The 400 volunteers, but the point is, it just keeps rolling. I mean, all the impact that Sleepy Hollow has in the community and how the community looks forward to it every single summer. It's a summer tradition for so many. So it's us that all owe you a debt of thanks and for all that you do and the impact that you make. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I would point out that none of this would have happened without Susan and Steph. They
Correct. Yes.
If you read about the history of Sleepy Hollow, it is all revolves around them and their family and the vision that they had, 30-some years ago.
Absolutely.
And for someone to give that much to our community is something to behold.
Great legacy. You're correct.
Gavin, I would echo that the commitment of their whole family, from their parents to them now. And I would add for folks, too, it's more than just the theater. There's the gazebo there that I believe is part, with Sleepy Hollow, where there's the jazz night and there's you can have a wedding or other
venue.
receptions there at the park. And over the years, I've had people say, my gosh, that's just a jewel or a gem in that part of the town now. The city grows around it, of course, but it's a great place. So thank you, Stephanie and Susan and Gavin and all your board. I look forward to another summer. I was there last year with my black leather jacket and slick back hair for Grease, and I got a great picture of that. So.
Well, I can't wait to see you in your Shrek costume on
Yeah,
this.
no, I don't think so. But thank you, Gavin, and thank you again to the Lundbergs and the whole crew at Sleepy Hollow.
Okay.
Look forward to it.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
And thank you for
You're welcome.
taking care of the park.
All right. Our next item on the agenda is entitled Garden of Healing. And we have with us this evening Karen De Silva from one of the local Lions Club, I believe, will appear to request authorization to coordinate the Lions Garden of Healing with the Bismarck Park District. Good evening. Good evening, Karen.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me. Just to give you a little brief background on why this park even became an idea for us. In case you didn't know, we have about 100 Lions Clubs across the state. And once a year, we get together for a state convention. And in October, we had a woman from Fargo who tragically lost her son from a car accident. And he became an organ donor and saved 150 people's lives. But through their grief and through their loss of their son, they found tremendous healing with the fact that he was able to save so many people. And Lions tend to be people of action, and that was not enough for them. They created a park out in Fargo, and they have a website, Crosses for Cameron. And they did a presentation at our state convention, which obviously was very moving. And even though he passed away probably 3 or 4 years ago, it's still you don't forget that. Unfortunately, our district, which is from Bismarck up and down all the way to the west, had one of our family, because when you're in a service group, you become family. And there was a couple whose grandson was diagnosed with leukemia, and I thought that leukemia, he'll make it. It's not a problem. But a week before the convention, their 15-year-old grandson passed away. And so we were all devastated because we had been going on their journey with him. Keaton's doing well. No, he's not. And when he passed away, we were all just kind of numb. We decided that we voted to donate $1,000 and we could plant a tree and do a bench. And that was our initial reaction. But after hearing what they did out in Fargo, and I asked our district, think big. Think big. What should we be doing? Someone came up to me and said, we should have a Crosses for Cameron type of event here in Bismarck. And from that moment on, this park just came in my mind. Keaton, as a grandfather, Lynn, towards the end of Keaton's life, said, why is it you? Why can't it be me? And Keaton looked at him. He had a very strong faith, has a very strong faith. And he said, Papa, I'm going to be okay. And I thought that is kind of my touchstone and my idea behind this park. Now, initially, we thought of it as a children's park for people that were experiencing cancer, whose child was going through that. So many times, a couple have more than one child. And yet all the focus is put on the child who's sick, right? Wouldn't it be wonderful if there was a place where they could go that wasn't overly stimulating, that was just a place of beauty, a place of the outdoors, where the kids could all play, and the parents would all have a safe place for reflection. And that's why we came up with this idea of 3 separate things within the park. We would have a natural kind of playground that would be built in. It's not going to be the primary colors and all of that. But the idea is, think of a slide. Instead of going up a slide, the slide would be built into the hill. And we would have switchbacks so a child in a wheelchair could get up to the top and then just slide down the hill. Or someone else could just run up the hill. But then we would also have a pavilion where we could have events that would bring the community, initially for childhood cancer or experiencing cancer, together. And they could support each other, and they would have a place where they could connect. And then for me, I really wanted the idea of a labyrinth. I've been to several labyrinths across the country, and so many times I know when I was pregnant with my youngest child, he was in a life or death situation, and we were going to so many doctors, and I had no more words. Larry and I had nothing else to say to each other. Now, our outcome was a happy one. But having gone through that experience, you realize that sometimes there are just no more words left. And the whole point of a labyrinth is to start in one place and then to be able to walk the labyrinth without having to worry about it being a maze. You know that you're going to be able to get through it. And then I was thinking about having bronze plaques along there with quotes of positive quotes, encouraging quotes like, "Papa, I'm going to be okay." So that's where this whole park has come together. We had our district meeting, district cabinet meeting, a couple of weeks ago, and everyone is very excited about this, and everyone is behind it. So in the western part of North Dakota, we have 50 clubs. We have over 1,200 people. We also have the backing of a Lions Foundation that is international, and I intend to be working with them, and I intend to be tapping a lot of different places for funding. The park kind of general idea is going to be a substantial, it's going to be a big project for us, but everyone is raring to go. So I sent the letter. I don't have anything prepared other than that. I just wanted to let you know what the inspiration was, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Well, thank you, Karen. Let's start again, if Commissioner Gilbertson.
Thank you, President Zimmerman. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Keaton was a student at Legacy.
Yes, 15 years old.
Yeah, my daughter was a classmate of his, and he attended church with us, and it's an amazing project, and it's not only for him, but to be in honor of him. It's moving, and it's amazing. Thank you.
You know, this idea was birthed in October. And as I've been kind of reaching out into the community, because it's a big project, and I didn't want it to be on my emotions alone or the emotions of the people that were involved with the Grabo family and their daughter. So I was having a coffee with a friend of mine in my book club, and her daughter had a genetic disease, was only going to live for 3 years, ended up living for 18. And I said, "What do you think about this? What do you think about this whole concept?" She said, "Well, her image that she gave you is that Keaton was going to be the band leader. He's going to be out there with the baton, and the rest of us are all going to follow behind him." And I think that that's kind of the concept I'm working with.
Thank you.
Commissioner Redmond.
Thank you, President Zimmerman. Karen, it's so lovely to see you, and thank you. These are the kind of projects that just move all of us. First of all, that the community wants to create a park with us, and that we have the staff that can support it, and also we have a 501c3 foundation that you can work with, and people that would love to support this. But this is the kind of thing that, as I mentioned to you before the meeting started, that we can hold hands and cross the street together.
Yeah.
This is just something that is a dream, because partners working together and to create something that's meaningful for families and children is what parks are about. So thank you.
You're welcome. And I really want to stress, too, that although this started, primarily it's going to be children, but also we intend to, what happened out in Fargo, it was for organ donation, and yet all of a sudden breast cancer survivors, other people found a need for this space, and then you just welcome them, and it just grows bigger. But this was the founding thing for it.
And it's unique. The district doesn't have any, although a park can provide solace and quiet for anything, but that this specifically for this, and the labyrinth just brings it all together at a really special place.
And I had asked, because again, lions are throughout the western part, and I thought, this is such a big project. How do you feel? My friends up in Minot, or my friends out in Dickinson, how do you feel about this? And enough people come to Bismarck for their medical care that they really felt that this was an excellent place for it.
Thank you.
Commissioner Jeske.
President Zimmerman, thank you. Karen, thank you for taking this on. You had talked about that this was not going to be an inexpensive project. Do you kind of have a dollar amount that you're looking to raise?
Yes, I do. I wouldn't go into this without my eyes wide open, and I did have an initial figure, and I did meet with the park staff to make sure that figure was correct, and unfortunately it was a little low. So what we're looking at is about $500,000 when all is said and done.
And we do have a matching grant program. I'm not sure if this would qualify, but and we certainly can't do $250,000. But there might be an opportunity for us to do some type of matching grant for you.
Thank you so much. And so many times when you have an idea and you try to move forward, you come across roadblocks and problems. It hasn't happened with this. It just seems like everybody wants this to happen, and I appreciate that greatly, because it's going to take a lot of different pieces to make it happen.
Well, I will guarantee you that everyone in this room has lost somebody, right? And so it's great that we offer people an opportunity to go someplace that is meaningful, they can pause, reflect, like Commissioner Redmond said, someplace that offers some solitude. Is there a location that's been identified yet?
Yes, there has been. Can I talk about it? Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to spill the tea.
No, no, no. The problem is that when you have so many people that feel so strongly about it, they all want to get going on it. And I've been trying to ride herd on them all so that we do this in a professional manner. I do have $100,000 that's already been designated for this. So that's kind of like our little seed money, and I think that's a pretty good seed money. But we identified... Kevin identified the land that was over by Ducks Unlimited. I don't know the official designation of that. So they had approached them. They found it was fine. And when I was talking about how this seems to be correct, Ducks Unlimited approached the Lions Club to help them because they wanted to make it more of a prairie landscape. They wanted to reforest some of it. So they approached the Lions Club to plant trees there. Lynn and Keaton planted 100 trees at that park. So I just have to say, when things are meant to be, they're meant to be. And we're going to make this happen.
Commissioner Herzog.
Thank you, President Zimmerman, Commissioners. Karen, thanks so much for doing this. I know you, just from some of your past organizations, you're going to kick it in the butt. And the Lions clubs that you have in town, and the Prairie Rose Lions and things like that, they're just fantastic to work with. So I think you got a good crew behind you. Just curious, now that people are probably maybe hearing this for the first time, or the public is, what is the way that people should get a hold of you if they're interested in participating or donating? Should they reach out to you, or how can people get involved and help out?
I've tried to be very quiet about this until I had the authorization. And when that happens, I'm actually going to be starting a club. We know Lions, just to let you know, I don't want to take up too much time, but just to let you know, the Lions of North Dakota are number 2 in the nation for the number of lions per population. We're behind Minnesota by 0.01%. And to hear the international president, who is going to be from Sweden, tell us that at a meeting is like, holy mackerel. And yet the president from Brazil wanted us to identify 25 clubs where we could grow, in cities where we could grow. Yeah, right. So what we have decided to do, what I have decided to do, is more specialty clubs. We don't have to have a club that is assigned by town. I have started a diabetes club. We have started a disaster relief club that has been helping with the Alberta fires. And I intend to start a club specifically for this park, so that we can still have a continuing relationship with Park and Rec, so that we can offer different services there, and also be able to have a place of remembrance. So
You get the turkey leg guys out there from the North Star Lions with that turkey thing to start getting some cashola for you.
Yeah, I'll let them know that. The challenge has been thrown down, yeah.
Karen, I want to mention, I'm going to ask if you'll stay at the podium, Director Klipfeld, do you have anything to add on the logistics or the mechanics of this project? I know we need to ask the board for authorization, but anything you wish to add to kind of wrap it up here a little bit?
Yeah, President Zimmerman and Commissioners, and thanks, Karen. Just a couple things. It was the Claremont Family Conservation Park is a piece of property that we looked at and identified some of the amenities that Karen had a vision for. We did reach out to our partners at DU because they were very instrumental in that park, and Wendy had developed a conceptual plan for this, and so it fit with them. They didn't have any issues with it. They were really kind of excited about it. And just a couple of things. I mean, we already had a shelter that we programmed for this space and some play area, and so this really fits into that. Some alcoves for some reflection space, and then we just think that it would be a nice way to start getting that park more activated. And so we were really excited about working with Karen and the Lions Club.
Thank you. Karen, I'm much impressed with the idea. When we started at the Claremont Conservation Park, all these ideas came in, and it's great to see some of those now being acted on.
Good.
But before you leave the podium, I want to thank you, and again, I want to thank the folks for Theo Art School and Sleepy Hollow in that. Here we are, the park board. I listened to a lot of meetings on Capitol on Access TV, and sometimes other governmental entities have meetings that don't always go as well as I think they could. And here, I'm honored to be a part of it's kind of a feel-good thing, but that's great for our community. So my thanks to you and the folks for Sleepy Hollow and Theo Art School. That's what our community is about, and as a commissioner, I'm proud to be a part of it as well. So I look forward to it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
We do need action for authorization to, they're asking for authorization to work with the Park District staff and the foundation to move this project forward. Do we have a motion?
President,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, President Zimmerman, I move that the Park Board does, we grant authorization to park staff to work collaboratively with Karen and her people and her club to move this Garden of Healing forward.
Yep. Motion by Commissioner Gilbertson, second by Commissioner Redmond. Any further discussion? If not, Julie, if you'd call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson,
Aye.
Herzog,
Yes.
Redmond,
Aye.
Jeske,
Aye.
President Zimmerman.
Aye. Again, thank you, Karen.
Thank you. I just would like to add one thing, and that is my sentence of being district governor is over at June 30th. It's been a great year, but it is a lot for a volunteer. It's been interesting. So I wanted to assure the board that the district governor next year and the year after, we're all on board. So we have the continuity between the times. I'll still be heading up the committee, but our the future district governors for the next 2 years, 3 years are behind it. And I certainly hope we can knock this out of the park a lot sooner than that. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Karen,
Okay.
you've got 5 weeks. I think you can raise it to $5,000 by then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, our next item on the agenda is the approval of the audited financial statements. And we have with us this evening Mindy Piatz from Brady Marks. We'll review the 2025 audited financial statement, and the request from the board is to accept the report as presented. Good evening, Mindy. Now, she's got good news. She can find $500,000 in there somewhere that we can.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Mindy Piatz, a partner with Brady Marts, and we perform the audit for the Park District, and so I will just be going over those results with you tonight. First off, we'll start with the overall audit opinion. So when we conduct the audit, we do have standards that we have to follow when performing the audit. Those include generally accepted auditing standards and government auditing standards. I'd also remind you that when we perform the audit, the audit's designed to obtain reasonable but not absolute assurance over the financials that they are free of material misstatement. So for the 2025 audit for the Park District, we expressed an unmodified opinion over the financial statements. That's the highest level of assurance that we can give on the financials for the Park District, meaning that they are materially in accordance with GAAP, or generally accepted accounting principles, so everything was good to go. Additionally, because we perform the audit underneath government auditing standards, we issue a separate report on internal control and compliance. Again, that's an unmodified opinion. There were no findings or issues noted in the audit that would have been required to be reported in that report. Just some financial highlights for the district for 2025 compared to 2024. First off, we'll start looking at the overall cash position. It's separated by funds. You can see that the general fund had quite a jump this last year, almost an increase of about $1.4 million, and that was mainly just due to operational efficiency by the district staff. And then as a result of that, some money was also transferred over to the Park Improvement Fund from the general fund, so that is why that money increased in the Park Improvement Fund. Looking at revenues and expenses by fund, again, you can see this kind of goes with the previous slide. The general fund had a really good year. Revenues of about $22.5 million, with offset by only expenses of about $20.1 million. Specifically, when you look at the general fund and the expenditures, overall, the general fund expenditures of that $20.2 million, it was overall an increase of about 3.9% from the prior year. So pretty conservative on the spending side for the Park District. the largest activities that consume the expenses for the general fund. The first one is general maintenance. That's at 19%, or about 3.7 million. Other recreational activities at 14%, or 2.8 million. And then the golf operations at 12%, or 2.4 million of the total park district operations. Looking at composition by fund balance, so this is intended to show the composition by each fund, but then also the level of restrictions. So the dark blue, those funds have restricted fund balances, so the fund balance has to be spent for specific use for how that money was given. The orange items are committed, and so those are items that have been formally approved by the board through resolutions of designating money for specific purposes. The lime green colors are assigned, so those are items that management has deemed how they're going to spend that money for operations, and those can always be removed or moved. Those aren't as formal as the board officially approving them. And then the light blue is unassigned. Obviously, that's all in the general fund, so you can spend that for the park operations for how the park district wishes. The other thing regarding fund balance, the park district does have a target fund balance policy for the general fund. And so, they don't. I'm sorry, they don't. But as of 12/31/2025, oh, no, they do. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes backwards. Okay, so the target fund balance is not less than 15% of general fund expenditures and transfers out. So for fiscal year 2025, to be in compliance with that policy would be about $3.2 million, and the general fund was almost at $8 million. It was around $7 million. So quite a healthy fund balance sitting in the general fund. Currently what's in there represents about 4.5 months operating expenses. So if something was to go wrong, the park district has about 4.5 months that they could cover. The Government Finance Officers Association, their recommendation is just anything not less than 1 to 2 months. So I think there's a balance in government of what's too much and what's too little. But 4.5, I think, is a healthy reserve for the park district. Next, looking at future debt, there was no new bonds this year, so debt continues to go down. Overall, next year the payments will be around $5 million, but then thereafter, provided no new debt is issued, they'll be around $3.5 million, and that includes principal and interest each year going forward until everything's paid off. As far as the general fund budget versus actual, again, revenues came in over budget by $1.2 million, and expenditures were under budget by $1.3 million. So coming in on both sides at the positive contributed again to that operational efficiency. Lastly, just some required items that we are required by our professional standards to go over with you upon completion of the audit. Just noting that there are estimates made to the financials as part of our audit, and we test these items. These relate to the net pension liability and then the other post-employment benefit liability, which is for other benefits that staff can receive upon certain retirement metrics that are met. We didn't come across any kind of unusual transactions during our audit. There were no difficulties or disagreements with management. There was one uncorrected misstatement, so one item that we found during our testing that wasn't posted and reflected in the financials. The item wasn't posted because it wasn't material, but it was material enough to rise to this level, so just letting you know that. And then also as part of the audit, we do request representations from management, just as management affirming that they provided us full access to everything, responded to our questions, and that everything's been properly recorded to their knowledge. My contact information is up here. If anybody does have questions, feel free to reach out to me. And with that, I just want to thank Kevin and Kathy for another great, successful year performing the audit.
Thank you, Mindy. Commissioners, a lot of this is over my head here, but if any commissioners have questions or comments, Commissioner Gilbertson.
President Zimmerman, Mindy, thank you. And it's great news to hear that that the numbers came in the way that they did, and that the staff continues to be amazing in their ability to stay within the budget and in this case, you know, be very efficient in what they do. So thank you for your work on this.
Commissioner Herzog?
President Zimmerman, Commissioners, thank you so much, and thanks, Kathy. She almost ran up here and tackled you when you were trying to figure out what was going on here, but an unmodified, I'm just going to put my 2 cents in again. It's like the best we can get and is the worst name for saying we did a great job, which is an unmodified opinion. So I don't know who we need to talk to about that, but kudos to Kathy and everybody. And it doesn't always happen. There's times when there are, you know, issues amongst other government entities. And so thanks again, Kathy and her staff and everybody. Appreciate it.
Mindy, I would just add my thanks on behalf of the whole board for your work on the audit. I know it's done every year, but it's great that we can have that behind us and know that we're doing a good job. And extend the thanks to Kathy and all of the staff, because as you mentioned, you know, our expenses are down from budget, if I understood that right. So
Correct.
we're doing things right out there somewhere in the district. So my thanks to you, and again, thanks to Kathy and all the staff that are part of it. So have a good evening, and thanks for the presentation. Do we need, I don't think we need formal, we need to, yeah, I think we do. We ask for approval of the audit.
I move to accept the report as presented.
I'll
Yeah.
second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Redmond, second by Commissioner Jeske. Any further questions? Julie, if you'd call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson?
Aye.
Herzog?
Yes.
Redmond?
Aye.
Jeske?
Aye.
President Zimmerman?
Aye. Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is the Boulder Ridge Park Special Assessment District, and our Finance Director, Kathy Feist, will review the memo. Good evening, Kathy.
Good evening, President Zimmerman and Commissioners. In 2019, we had a park development agreement that was signed by the developer that owned or was developing that property for near Boulder Ridge Park. We had several subdivisions that were also from Boulder Ridge that were already in existence prior to the requirement to comply with the neighborhood park and open space policy. So now that the developer is closer to putting in infrastructure into that area, we'll have access to the area where this designated park is. And so the next step would be to create a special assessment district to be able to finance the park. And the process for doing that is a joint powers agreement with the city of Bismarck. And so requested board action tonight is to authorize staff to make that request to the city of Bismarck. This particular special assessment district is different than previous parks that have been created under the neighborhood park and open space policy, in the fact that the developer no longer owns the majority of the property. So therefore, the benefited property owners have an opportunity to protest this district. And so part of the process of creating the district is to create a resolution of necessity that would create a protest period that the neighborhood, those properties that are in the benefited area would get a notification letter that would tell them that there's this proposed special assessment district and that this is what your estimated cost is and when the timing of that would all be. And then they have instructions in there if they do want to protest it out, how they would do that by contacting. The protest would go to the city of Bismarck. And so that's why we're bringing this one specifically to the park board, because it is different than we have done in the past, and there is that additional steps required of going through the protest period for this. Are there any questions for me?
Questions for Kathy? Commissioner Jeske?
President Zimmerman, thank you. Kathy, and maybe we don't know this yet, but do we know what the dollar amount per $100,000 home would be for this special assessment?
President Zimmerman and Commissioners, Commissioner Jeske, I don't know what the exact amount is. We have developed that. Our policy is to stay less than $200 in principal per year, and so I believe it's in that neighborhood. We don't have the exact calculation at this point.
Thank you, Kathy.
Commissioner Redmond?
No.
Commissioner Gilbertson? Kathy, so we have in front of us this schedule. So we look here at the protest period would end in July. And I think I had asked Director Klipfeld before, but for general information, the letters to the homeowners are sent out by the city. Could you clarify that if somebody's watching and saying, well, how does that process work? If you would, please.
Sure. President Zimmerman, Commissioners, the process would be, since it is a special assessment district created by the City of Bismarck, they will be mailing out the letters. The documentation of the letters will have Park District information on there. We would have to work out the details specifically. The letter is being drafted now and is in the process of being determined of who will do what and if they want to take the calls or if we want the calls or how we're going to do that. So we haven't, since this is the first time we've done this, those small details haven't been exactly worked out, but there will be a letter that will be sent out that will have clear information on what the property owners need to do.
Thank you, Kathy. Executive Klipfeld, anything to add? Kathy does a good job on it, but
President Zimmerman and Commissioners, yeah, Kathy hit it on the head. Those letters will go out and will be a combination effort with the Park District and the city, and that would, to your question, Commissioner Jeske, that would have the estimated amount on there to every homeowner so they would have an idea of what they're going to be assessed.
all right, so our action item on this is for the board to authorize the staff to send a request to the city of Bismarck to create the Park Improvement Special Assessment District for Boulder Ridge Park.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Jeske. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gilbertson. Any further discussion? If not, Julie, if you'd call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson?
Aye.
Herzog?
Yes.
Redmond?
Aye.
Jeske?
Aye.
President Zimmerman?
Aye. Thank you, Kathy. Next item on the agenda is the consideration of a neighborhood park waiver request. And we have Operations Director David Mayer will review the neighborhood park waiver request. Good evening, David.
Good evening, President Zimmerman and Commissioners. In your packet is a brief description of the request from the developer of Clear Sky Second Edition. They're requesting a waiver of a new park for specifically Clear Sky Second. Justification is that it is within the walking distance and the kind of parameters that we look at to determine whether or not an additional park is necessary. And the distance between Clear Sky Second and Heroes Park, which was built in Clear Sky First, is acceptable. And staff recommends that we approve a waiver.
Questions for David? Editorial comment. I drove out to Clear Sky Edition, and there's a lot of new homes going up, so it's great that we're looking at some additional park work out there. That's east of the fairgrounds or east of the Missouri Valley Complex. So, what are the wishes of the commission, of the board? Excuse me. We're being asked to approve the submission of a waiver.
I'll move to approve that. Move to approve that we let Dave and his crew go forward with the neighborhood park waiver request for Clear Sky 2.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Herzog, second by Commissioner Redmond. Any further discussion? If not, Julie, if you'd call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson?
Aye.
Herzog?
Yes.
Redmond?
Aye.
Jeske?
Aye.
President Zimmerman?
Aye. Thank you, David. I don't know
Thank
if
you.
we have you back up later tonight or not, but hang tight there. Our next item is the Capitol Ice Complex at Schaumburg for the refrigeration system. And we're asking Kathy to give us an explanation.
President Zimmerman and Commissioners, the request tonight is to transfer $3 million from the general fund reserves to the Capital Improvement Project Fund to fund the Schaumburg Arena refrigeration system replacement. So we just had the audit report where you saw that our fund balance had grown to over $7 million. And so we're at the percentage of that is 36.2% for the year. And so our, as Mindy stated, our policy is not less than 15%. And so we knew that we had forecasted that that percentage was growing, and then we had the need to fund this project. And so instead of taking it out of our other funding resources through our our budgeting process, we knew that we would have the adequate reserves available to make available to transfer to the Capital Improvement Project Fund to fund this project. So the request before you tonight is to approve that transfer of the $3 million from the general fund reserves to the Capital Improvement Project Fund. Any questions?
Any questions for Kathy? Just a comment from me, it's when people say, well, what is the Park District doing for projects? And here we're spending $3 million, just, nothing fancy here, just a refrigeration system. We're putting out $3 million. So thank you, Kathy, and again, thanks to our staff for good work to have the $3 million to spend. So we look for a motion to authorize the transfer of the funds.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Gilbertson, second by Commissioner Jeske. Any further comments? If not, Julie, if you'll call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson?
Aye.
Herzog?
Yes.
Redmond?
Aye.
Jeske?
Aye.
President Zimmerman?
Aye. Thank you. We now have some disposition of bids. We have several there, and I want to thank those gentlemen or the folks that will present for hanging tight here for an hour to make their presentations. We'll start with the maintenance shop. It has a parking lot improvement project down there, and Kyle Kruckenberg will has provided some bid recommendation. Is Kyle here? Kyle, did you have anything you wanted to add?
In particular for this project?
If you would come to the mic, if you don't mind, Kyle, that way it's picked up on the mic as well. Thank you. That way, if anybody has a question, we can get you right there.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Yes, nothing in particular for this project. It's a resurfacing. We're putting down concrete by the maintenance shop down south by Clem Kelly. Just taking out some of the gravel, putting in some concrete, and that's the scope of the work.
All right. Questions for Kyle? I know we've got a great-looking shop building down there in the whole yard, so it'd be great to spiff that up a little more. I'm looking at David, and he's nodding his head. Yeah, we can do that. All right, any questions for Kyle? Do we need to make a motion on each bid? All right, well, we'll get geared up for that. Why don't you just hang tight, Kyle, until we've actually taken a vote in case there's any final thoughts. Do we have a motion to accept that the bid recommendation for the maintenance shop parking lot improvement?
Sorry, I will make a motion that we award the bid to Capital City Construction in the amount of $93,200 for the maintenance shop parking lot improvement project.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Jeske, second by Commissioner Redmond. Any further discussion? If not, Julie, if you'll call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson?
Aye.
Herzog?
Yes.
Redmond?
Aye.
Jeske?
Aye.
President Zimmerman?
Aye. All right, you're off the hook, Kyle. Thank you. Our next one is the boiler replacement at the VFW Sports Center. We have Andrew Carlson with Prairie Engineering. And Andrew will give us an update on those bids. Good evening, Andrew. And, we'll...
Hi, Andrew.
Hi. Good evening. As the President said, we're recommending bid acceptance for the boiler replacement at the VFW Ice Arena. It's the boiler that serves Rink 1. And we had 3 bids total. Apparent low was Northern Plains Plumbing and Heating at $252,808.00. Any questions?
Any questions for Andrew? We got to keep those. Rinks going too, right? Okay. If not, we'll look for a motion.
President Zimmerman, I move that we award the bid for the boiler replacement project to Northern Plains Plumbing and Heating in the amount of $252,808.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Gilbertson, second by Commissioner Jeske. Any further discussion? Julie, if you'll call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson?
Aye.
Herzog?
Yes.
Redmond?
Aye.
Jeske?
Aye.
President Zimmerman?
Aye. Thank you, Andrew, and thanks again for waiting to make the presentation. We'll move right along. The next one for disposition of bids is at the Municipal Country Club, the restroom renovation. Nate Hacker with Endeavor North Design will present the bid summary and recommendations. Nate?
President Zimmerman, members of the commission, I'm here to just report on the recent bid results for the Municipal Country Club restroom renovation. There was an accessibility audit completed a couple of years back, and so this project, the scope of this work is to upgrade the restrooms at the Municipal Country Club. We received 4 bids on May 7th, validated all of the bids. Low bidder was for $158,500 for Morse Construction. All the bids came in relatively in alignment. 3 bids were under the construction cost estimate that we put together, so by about $7,000.
Questions for Nate on this project? Nate, I would ask if you know, what's our scheduled time to have this project completed?
Contingent on getting the asbestos removed. There's a little bit of asbestos in the facility, so that bids have been received for that as well. Targeting start date would be July 1st of this year, with completion October 31st. The contractor's confirmed that he's able to meet that timeline.
Great. And I think folks of Bismarck know the Municipal Country Club's been there for years. I've heard that, there's several generations have had weddings and anniversary receptions there, and it'll be great to see those restrooms up to code, and I know our staff has worked on those projects to bring our facilities up to code for that. So, any further questions for Nate?
No, but
If not, we'll look for a motion, please.
I'll make a motion that we award the bid to Roars Construction Joint Venture LLC in the amount of $158,500 for the Bismarck Municipal Country Club restroom renovation, which is so needed.
Second?
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Jeske, second by Commissioner Redmond. Any further discussion? If not, Julie, if you'll call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson.
Aye.
Herzog.
Yes.
Redmond.
Aye.
Jeske.
Aye.
President Zimmerman.
Aye. Thank you, Nate. Our next bid disposition is for the Tom O'Leary Golf Course Cart Path Improvement Phase 2. We have with us this evening Tom Demke with Apex Engineering. Good evening, Tom.
Good evening, President Zimmerman, Commissioners, Executive Director Clipville. I'm here to present the bid results for the Tom O'Leary Cart Path Phase 2 project. Bids were opened May 13th. They were 3 bids. Low bid was from American Resurfacing for the amount of $374,617.96. This was below the engineer's estimate of $395,814.50. Based on the bids received, Apex Engineering Group recommends that Bismarck Parks and Recreation District award this project to American Resurfacing Incorporated.
Any questions for Thomas? Thomas, I would ask a $20,000 difference. What do we attribute that to? Not that that's a lot, but $20,000.
Just good bids.
Okay.
Good bids.
Because I hear the cost of concrete is high.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
So we're good. All right. Any further questions for Thomas?
President Zimmerman, I move that we award the Tom O'Leary Golf Course Cart Path 2 improvements Phase 2 to American Resurfacing in the amount of $374,617.96.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Gilbertson, second by Commissioner Herzog. Any further discussion? Julie, if you'll call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson.
Aye.
Herzog.
Yes.
Redmond.
Aye.
Jeske.
Aye.
President Zimmerman.
Aye. Thank you, Thomas. Thanks again
Thank
for
you.
holding tight here. Our next one is the McDowell Dam Recreation Area restroom remodeling. Joel Larrabee with Bartlett and West. Is Joel here? Oh. Director Clipville. Yeah.
Thank you, President Zimmerman and Commissioners. I will take this one. We bid out the project to renovate the restrooms at McDowell Dam. That's the bathhouse and restroom facility that's at the top of the beach. We did receive just one bid from Paramount Builders in the amount of $76,512. That was a little bit over the construction estimate of $74,052. We did check with the Water Resource District, and staff would recommend approving this bid with Paramount Builders.
Any further discussion or questions to Executive Director Klipfeld? If not, we'll look for a motion.
I move to approve that we accept the bid of $76,512 submitted by Paramount Builders for the McDowell Dam restroom remodeling project.
Is there a motion by Commissioner Herzog, second by Commissioner Jeske? Any further discussion? If not, Julie, if you'll call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson.
Aye.
Herzog.
Yes.
Redmond.
Aye.
Jeske.
Aye.
President Zimmerman.
Aye. Our next item on bids is for the Satchel Paige statue. The commissioners have in your packet information, and I'll ask Executive Director Klipfeld to give us some information, please.
Thanks, President Zimmerman. Commissioners, on April 15th, we had two bids that we received to produce a statue, the life-size statue of Satchel Paige. We had very competitive bids. Staff would recommend approving the bid from Bronzeman Incorporated in the amount of $68,500 for the statue.
Any questions for to Director Klipfeld on the Satchel Paige statue?
President Zimmerman.
Commissioner Gilbertson.
I guess I'm just curious. Bronzeman Incorporated, like where is that local? Where is this statue going to be made?
President Zimmerman and Commissioner Gilbertson, no, these companies are both, I think one's on the East Coast, one is on the West Coast. They are national companies that do this work very regularly.
Thank you.
Any further questions? I'm going to make an editorial comment here. We have in attending the meeting tonight two folks who have been the prime movers, if I may, behind the effort here. I think all of us commissioners know former Commissioner Mike Schwartz and his, as he tells me, his scheduler, Connie. Whenever I ask Mike to help me on a project, he's, I got to check with my scheduler. But congratulations. I know Mike and Connie have made a lot of legwork in getting this project to this point, and we look forward to hopefully next May that it will be dedicated down at the municipal ballpark. So thank you, Mike and Connie. And anything else on this? We look for a motion to accept this bid. Do I have a motion?
I would proudly move to award the bid to Bronzeman Incorporated in the amount of $68,500 for the Satchel Paige statue.
Is there a second?
I'll proudly second that.
That's right.
Motion by Commissioner Redmond, second by Commissioner Jeske. Any further discussion? Julie, if you'll call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson.
Aye.
Herzog.
Yes.
Redmond.
Aye.
Jeske.
Aye.
President Zimmerman.
Aye. Our last one for disposition of bids is on the World War Memorial Building roof. And we have with us this evening Jeff Hubel. Jeff looks kind of sporty there tonight. I don't know, are you?
It's almost Memorial Day.
Okay.
President Zimmerman.
Good evening, Jeff.
Good evening, President Zimmerman, commissioners. It's good to see you all. Unfortunately, I'm back to talk about our pesky project at the World War Memorial Building. As you may recall, a few weeks ago, we made a recommendation to accept the bid of Twin City Roofing for $374,980. Since that time, we've been waiting for contracts on that project. And as of last Friday, I received an email from Twin City Roofing asking to withdraw their bid, as they had indicated that they have staffing issues and they didn't believe they'd be able to complete the project in the required time frame. Following that receipt of that email, I reached out to the second low bidder, which was Tecta America. Through my conversations with Tecta, although the window for the time frame has gone by in terms of our bid window, they did indicate that they would honor their original bid of $382,698, which is a difference of about $7,700, $7,718 actually. You have a couple of different directions you can go with this. One is you can reject all of the bids and rebid it, which would be for the fourth time. As you may recall, we haven't had a lot of success with this project. The second option would be to reject the bid of Twin City Roofing and accept the bid of Tech America. And you also reserve the option, there was a bid bond that was provided with that, which you could pursue as well. What we're recommending at this time is to reject the bid of Twin City Roofing and accept the bid of Tech America and not pursue the bid bond at this point, just simply because the difference is so small. There'd be probably more cost in pursuing it than there would be in actually recovering the difference. So if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer those at this time.
Jeff, again, they'll be able to do it on our timeline or the timeline you put out there. If they take they get the contract now.
TECTA has indicated that they will be over there on June 2nd to start if the bids are awarded.
Thank you. Yeah. Other questions for Jeff on this bid? If not, do we have a motion?
President Zimmerman, I do agree with Mr. Ubel that it's, well, $7,718 is money. I think it's an immaterial amount when looking at the full value of this project, and I think we've got to move forward. It's not going to get any cheaper. So I'm going to make a motion that we reject the bid of Twin City Roofing and accept the bid of Tekla America for the amount of $382,698 for the World War II Memorial Building re-roofing.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Jeske, second by Commissioner Redmond. Any further discussion? If not, Julie, if you'll call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson?
Aye.
Herzog?
Yes.
Redmond?
Aye.
Jeske? Aye. President Zimmerman?
Aye. Just if my addition is somewhat correct, again, I think when folks say, well, what was the Park District spend money on? Quick addition, I got $1.3 million on these few bids here, so we are doing some work here, and I think that's good. Again, our staff is giving us the information and working with all of these contractors and consultants to get us some projects going here, but yeah, $1.3 million in just a few minutes, so thank you. Our next item on the agenda is the consideration of the agreement for the recreation facility feasibility study. And the memo was in our packet. I will certainly questions or comments from commissioners or our Executive Director Klipfel. I'll turn to Executive Director Klipfel.
President Zimmerman and Commissioners, just to give you a little background, again, this is the feasibility study for the Recreation Center that the Park Board had authorized staff to work together with the city, and the city has approved that. We did have a selection committee of 6 folks, 3 from each entity that scored the 8 proposals that were received for this feasibility study. From that, we picked the top 3 finalists that we did in person, we did Zoom interviews, and then we visited with the committee visited about the 3 finalists as we approached that. We did have CHA at the top of our list when we scored them. The 6 committee members had them rated the highest one. 4 of the 6 committee members had them first overall. And then after the discussion with the 5 committee members at the interviews, Mayor Schmitz was not able to make it. We did come to a unanimous decision to select CHA Solutions. Yep. To approve the feasibility study with them. The agreement is in the packet for your review, and the amount of the feasibility study is $136,963.
Questions or discussion from commissioners? Commissioner Herzog?
Well, thanks, President Zimmerman, Commissioners. Executive Director Klipfel, is the pay? Just talk me through the payment portion of it. So we are in for 75. Are we paying that? When are we paying that? And are we paying it, in a lump, or how that would work?
President Zimmerman and Commissioners, Commissioner Herzog. So as we go through this process, we would pay the consultant on a monthly basis, like any other contract that we would have with like a construction project. They would submit pay applications on the work that they've done. We would pay that. As a park district, we're okay. We could pay the whole bill, and then at the end of it, ask the city for their half of that. We both had said up to $75,000. So we hope to stay, and we feel that we're going to stay under that $150,000.
Thank you.
Executive Director Klipfeld, just for public, what is our timeline on this?
President Zimmerman and Commissioners, the timeline that we had proposed is we wanted to have this feasibility study draft plan approved by both boards by the middle of February of 2027. CHA is proposing to get the project done in about 6 months, so that's somewhere in December. So we feel real comfortable that if we can get it done sometime between December and February, that will be very good.
Other questions? Commissioner Redmond?
Just a comment. I just appreciate the board's assignment of my part in the committee work. Certainly appreciated the work of the city and the Park District working together. It was really nice to have that partnership. And also just when this moves forward, if we approve it and the city, also City Commission approves it, for the public to be watching for the engagement piece of this. It's really important to have as many voices as possible weighing in on this. And certainly there will be it's a hard word, statistically valid survey that will be going up, but certainly opportunities for the public just to attend and voice their concerns. And so, and their ideas and their wishes and their wants. And so I just encourage everyone to be watching for that and to participate in the process. So those are just my comments and appreciation.
Other commissioners wish comments? The request is for the board to approve the agreement for the recreation facility feasibility study.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Redmond, second by Commissioner Jeske. Any further discussion? Julie, if you'd call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson.
Aye.
Herzog.
No.
Redmond.
Aye.
Jeske.
Aye.
President Zimmerman.
Aye. Next item on the agenda is a discussion of public comments as per the policy of the Bismarck Park Board. Commissioner Herzog had requested that the board discuss our public comment policy for public to comment at a public meeting. So at this time, I'll ask Commissioner Herzog.
Thank you, President Zimmerman, Commissioners. I've had a few folks reach out to me about our policy being different from the other three taxing entities. And then we also, as a park board, sit on some of those committees that have the public comment policy, like Forestry Advisory or Missouri Valley Complex and things like that. And so I just wanted to bring it up again to see if we would be interested in kind of mirroring our policy to represent the schools, the county, and the city. Right now, we are the only ones that require that kind of 2 days notice versus just being able to speak on any agenda items that are on the agenda. Sometimes it's the previous agenda. We can set parameters, have to be the county sets a parameter of county resident or landowner. And so I just think to be as transparent and engage as many people as possible. They may not probably not paying that much attention to our agendas to get there 48 hours in advance and all that stuff. So I'll just read you the city's policy if you'll indulge me. But the city has a public comment agenda item will be the first non-procedural agenda item at all regular meetings. To provide public comments, each individual must sign a speaker sheet located at the podium that includes the individual's name and address, and a reasonable accommodation will be made for those requiring it, just for Title VI. Each individual will be allotted up to 5 minutes to make comments. The time may be extended at the discretion of the chair. The individual will be notified when their time has expired. An individual may not yield his or her allotted time to another individual. The public comment agenda item may be limited to a total of 30 minutes, so the whole agenda item, regardless of how many individuals have signed the speaker sheet. The initial 30 minutes may be extended at the discretion of the chair, but each speaker will continue to be limited to 5 minutes. All comments must address an item of the current agenda or an agenda item from the preceding meeting. Comments may not be defamatory, abusive, harassing, unlawful, include personal or exempt confidential information, interfere with orderly conduct of the meeting, and must be pertinent to the public entity. So that's the city's. I chair a committee for the city. We have that open public comment period at the beginning of our meeting. It's at the beginning of the Forestry Advisory Board meeting. So just for simplicity, I think matching what the schools in the county and the city do and with their committees would be something I would like to do as well. So, but it's a policy, so it should come to the board for discussion and review. And thanks for letting me chat about it.
Commissioner Jeske?
Thank you, President Zimmerman. Commissioner Herzog, I'm always wanting input from the city, or from the citizens of this community. What I'd like to see is I'd like to see this in writing.
Sure.
So I'd have a chance to really dive into it a little bit more. While I appreciate you reading it, I zone out a little bit. The ADD kicks in. But, my only comment would be, I know the city meets every other week. County meets every other week. For us, we meet once a month. So that would be my only concern, is bringing something that was on a topic a month ago back, especially if we voted on it, and then if they want to make a comment on it. But I'm receptive to looking at this, and it probably wouldn't be a bad thing if maybe we adjusted our policy. I do think our public input policy has been effective for us, but I'm not saying it's perfect. So maybe we look for something different.
And sorry.
Thank you.
You have a comment? Go ahead.
Well, just maybe a follow-up question, President Zimmerman, Commissioners. And if you guys could, if you have an opinion one way or the other, how you wanted to restrict it, like you said, could just be on that agenda item. Do you want it to be just property owners within the city of Bismarck, because that's who pays the tax? Do we want to involve partner groups that might, as well? So Burleigh County always says Burleigh County citizens or property owners that own property in Burleigh County. So some things to think about.
Commissioner Jeske, did you have something to add? I see you hit your...
Well, I'm just, this would actually, President Zimmerman, maybe go to our Executive Director Klippel. Would this be a policy that our attorney would need to look at?
President Zimmerman and Commissioners, yes, I would definitely say that our legal counsel would look at it. Our legal counsel did review our policy. When the last legislative change was indicated there, and ours met the policy, so we didn't have any problems with that. But like Commissioner Herzog said, there is some differences between ours and the way the other political subdivisions operate. And I think they've got some good guidelines and some guardrails in their policies that we could definitely look at if we're looking to change something.
Thank you.
Commissioner Redmond?
Thanks, President Zimmerman. I want to look at it too. I think it's a great idea. Did you say something again? I kind of was trying to listen and think at the same time. Something about a decision is not going to be made if they have a request of it. Is there something in there about that?
President Zimmerman, Commissioners, Commissioner Redmond, I think, we can put that in the policy. I think I was reading the school boards, which is similar to this,
maybe
but
that's what I read it before.
In the school boards, it talks about, this isn't a conversation, we're not going to debate it. It's you giving public comment, and we are absorbing that, and then you sit down after your time is up.
I think that would be
nice.
helpful, because if somebody's expecting an answer from us or something, some
Right.
action, that probably wouldn't be appropriate. And then what was the other comment I was going to make? About the time limit was on there. That's a good thing. I'll think of it. But I think it'd be great for us to look at. I like the idea very much. Thanks.
Commissioner Gilbertson?
Yeah, President Zimmerman and Commissioners, I've seen some of the other meetings in action, and I'm in no hurry to emulate some of those. But, I was also on the board when the current policy was put in place, and I'm encouraged that, that there would be guardrails in place, because there were many times where when it was just open, it became an I got you. And I was asked if I knew what it said on page 212 of the employee manual. I don't know what it says on page 212 of the employee manual, and this isn't and it absolutely can't be a venue to air grievances and dirty laundry, which is ultimately the reason for the current policy, because it did get out of hand, and it was not productive at all. I mean, yes, absolutely, and when the new board is seated, new directors in place, I think that is a very valid conversation to have, because, I mean, if somebody feels strongly about a particular agenda item that is on here and they want to offer a comment, great. But, as long as there are, like you said, those guardrails in place where people aren't coming to the podium demanding an answer, demanding that the park district do this, and we're not leaving until that's not how it works. But yeah, I mean, I too, and hopefully I have the opportunity to be part of that conversation in the future, and I think that would probably ultimately be something worth looking at, especially given what we've all talked about, change, taking it in a new direction, and all that. So thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner Gilbertson. President Zimmerman, I do want to remind people they can come give public comment in support of things as well. And so I don't want it to be, like you're saying, I don't want it to be, I have a complaint and I may come here to do that. I mean, it has to be on the agenda, and I would really appreciate if the public, because I get a lot of really good compliments about staff and everything they do, and I think it would be nice for the public to come and say that to them as well. So
that's a good point.
It's
public.
Probably
my PTSD.
I know.
My real world job,
And I think having a strong chair also is important. I think in some of the meetings you might be referencing of others, it's kind of willy-nilly, and that's, I think, where the chair needs to make sure the rules are being followed. But I just kind of want us to be similar to the others, so all the taxpayers that are here kind of know the drill for all the political subs.
First, I'm going to ask if our legal counsel, John, do you have anything to keep us or to comment on it?
President Zimmerman, commissioners, no, I really don't. Once this was passed by the legislature last session, we looked at our existing policy for public comment, and it was compliant with what the legislature had implemented in I believe it was 2025. It is a policy change, so obviously it's up to you guys to make the decision as to how you want to modify that. If you do want to come into, I guess, conformity or adopt some of the guardrails or other aspects of the city or the county's policy. But again, it is a policy change. I really liked Commissioner Gilbertson's comment. I think that we do have an election coming up here, and it would probably be appropriate, I think, to revisit this at that time. That's just my 2 cents. But again, it is policy, so it's up to the commissioners to make the decision. I can tell you whether it's compliant or not, but I can't make the policy for you.
Thank you, John, and that's what I wanted to hear, was that, yes, we can make it, but it is a policy decision, but you're certainly there to give us some guidance. I would just add, and I agree for all the commissioners and Commissioner Herzog for bringing it up, it certainly needs review. But I would add, in visiting with Kevin on this, I find it interesting that, Kevin calls me often, this issue was raised at an arena or this issue at a park, and, they've dealt with staff. They call the park district office, and the staff gets right on it, and I've heard that from people, not to neglect that if somebody wishes to come to a public meeting, they have that right and they should, but my kudos to the staff, both at the district office and out across the district, that were handling a lot of those issues. And they're usually in the complaint category, but Kevin and the whole crew are handling a lot of those, that they don't necessarily come here, as I've seen in other governmental entities where folks just come up and unload on a board. So my kudos and my thanks to the staff, but although I'll no longer be on the board, I do believe it's a good idea to give it a review and set up some guardrails for it as well. So do we need a motion for that? Commissioner, Executive Director Clipfell?
President Zimmerman, Commissioners, I think that if you could give us a little bit of guidance, we could pull some of those policies, put some draft language together that would be very similar, provide you the policies of the other political subs so that you could review it. We could get it to you maybe in the next few weeks, and then, as people have mentioned, once the election is over and we know exactly who the 5 members of the board are, we could start that conversation again.
All right, is that agreeable to commissioners?
Yeah. I think it is. Like I said, my biggest thing is we have people who participate in our programs that don't live in Bismarck. So we're going to have to address that issue as well. You know, are they allowed to come up here and talk if they live in Mandan, but they have participated in a program, or Lincoln? Something to think about as we draft that policy.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to, I'm going to call them a couple bittersweet agenda items. We have to designate an interim executive director. We have our director, Clipfell, is retiring here in 3 days or what? No, a week or whatever. Maybe tonight. I don't know.
Yesterday.
Get out.
Yesterday, yeah, get out, Kevin. But we have to. The board has to designate an interim executive director, and again, I say it's bittersweet. We don't, to say goodbye to Kevin, but at the same time, we know that we have capable staff that can fill in
President
an
Zimmerman?
interim. Yes.
I'm prepared to make a motion.
Well, then let's have that motion, Commissioner Redmond.
I would like to, at this time, nominate a trusted, dedicated, and valuable 35-year employee, our Facilities and Programs Director, Mike Wald, to be our interim executive director from June 2 to 18. Additionally, to be compensated for that interim period at the entry-level range of our executive director from our budget in the Park District, which is $132,000 per year, which translates to $63.46 per hour in that interim period. And then at that time, he would be transferred back to his regular salary. So again, for our interim executive director, Mike Wald, at the hourly rate of $63.46 per hour in that interim period from June 2 through 18.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Redmond, second by Commissioner Herzog. Any further discussion?
That was a lot of math.
Do we have to ask him if he wants it? If he wants
Is
it?
he here? Oh, I didn't.
No, he just doesn't get a choice.
Wow.
It doesn't matter.
He's nodding, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. No further discussion. Julie, if you'd call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson,
Aye.
Herzog,
Yes.
Redmond,
Aye.
Jeske,
Aye.
President Zimmerman.
Aye. The next item on the agenda is the designation of an interim clerk for the Park District and the administering of the oath of office. The staff has requested the board's consideration to name an interim clerk for the Park District. Again, those time period of June 2 to June 18, when Dave Leaker will assume the job of executive director. The clerk is a legal or financial position to the district. Executive Director Clipfell.
Commissioner, President Zimmerman, Commissioners, the clerk has checked some documents, makes some signatures and a signature on some of the documents too, so.
All righty, any discussion or a motion?
President Zimmerman, that traditionally is the executive director for that position. So this time I will nominate the interim executive director, Mike Wald, to be the the interim clerk for the Park District.
Second.
Excuse me, is there a second? Motion by Commissioner Redmond, second by Commissioner Herzog. Any further discussion? Julie, if you'll call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson,
Aye.
Herzog,
Yes.
Redmond,
Aye.
Jeske,
Aye.
President Zimmerman.
Aye. At this time, I would ask our legal counsel, John Ward, as well as our interim director, Mike Wald, to come forward, and we'll administer the oath of office of the clerk of the Bismarck Park District.
Should be music playing or something.
Instead of a Bible, let's get the summer activity schedule out for him to put his hands on. Yeah.
you want to repeat after me?
I,
Mike Wald,
Mike Wald,
of Bismarck, North Dakota,
of Bismarck, North Dakota,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I'll support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of North Dakota,
and the Constitution of the State of North Dakota,
that I will faithfully discharge
that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of the interim clerk
of the intern clerk
for the Bismarck Parks and Recreation District
for the Bismarck Parks and Recreation District
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. Thank you.
You just pretty bolted.
Thank you, John. And thank you, Mike, for accepting that additional responsibility. It's a busy time at the Park District, so they're taking on a little more, but we appreciate that. Our next item on the agenda is the consent agenda, and I will read through that as quickly as I can. A variety of items have been placed in a consent agenda. A consent agenda can be approved with one motion, or an item or items can be removed for additional discussion and separate action. Staff recommends approval of the following items. Consideration of April 2026 board meeting minutes. The following minutes are provided for our consideration. April 9 and April 10 minutes, that was for interviews of park executive director candidates. April 16 minutes, April 23 minutes, and April 29 minutes. Request authorization to call for the following bids. Purchase and installation of a dehumidifier at the H.A. Thompson and Sons Arena at the VFW complex, and also consideration of the concessions at Capitol Ice Complex. The third item on the consent agenda is the sale of Epic Nutrition and the transfer of agreement. That's at the Aquatic Center, and that has information provided by Interim Executive Director Mike Wald. Any comments or questions? What are the wishes of the board on the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Jeske, second by Commissioner Gilbertson. Any further discussion? If not, Julie, if you'll call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson?
Aye.
Herzog?
Yes.
Redmond?
Aye.
Jeske?
Aye.
President Zimmerman?
Aye. Next item on the agenda is approval of the bills.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Gilbertson, second by Commissioner Redmond. Any discussion? If not, Julie, if you'll call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson?
Aye.
Herzog?
Yes.
Redmond?
Aye.
Jeske?
Aye.
President Zimmerman?
Aye. Our last item on the agenda is the recognition of our retiring Executive Director, Kevin Klipfel. It is my honor to read a proclamation that comes from the board of the Park District. Allow me to read this. Whereas Kevin Klipfel, in his capacity as Executive Director of the Bismarck Parks and Recreation District since 2021, has served the residents and visitors of the city of Bismarck in an exceptional, professional, and collaborative manner. And whereas he has led and inspired the Bismarck Parks and Recreation District team in providing the highest quality public parks, programs, facilities, and leisure services in partnership with our community, while emphasizing affordability, accessibility, and sustainability. And whereas Kevin Klipfel has given freely and graciously of his time and many talents to the Bismarck Parks and Recreation District for many years, greatly contributing to a healthier, more active community with a high quality of life. And whereas it is fitting and proper that such dedication, loyalty, and public service be recognized, publicly proclaimed, historically noted, and made part of the permanent record of the Bismarck Parks and Recreation District. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Park District of the City of Bismarck, on behalf of the citizens of Bismarck, on this 21st day of May 2026, that the Board of Park Commissioners and staff of Bismarck Parks and Recreation District extend to Kevin Klipfel our sincere thanks and grateful appreciation for his outstanding leadership and distinguished service. Congratulations, Kevin.
Yes, now we stand.
I would certainly ask if commissioners would wish to make some public comments as well, and we'll start at my left with Commissioner Gilbertson.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Kevin. In the 2 years that I served as president, it was an honor to work with you. I enjoyed our Thursday meetings, even though I may not have always been on time. I was close. But it was an honor working with you. The Park District is in a better place because of your leadership. And again, I just want to say thank you, and I hope you enjoy retirement and your baseball trip. Thank you.
I had to write it down. Kevin, this is about you, but I'm going to go against my personal rules at this table and talk about me for just only in how I first met you, because I'm sure it's so memorable for you. I was employed at the Park District, and the director, Steve New, and an assistant director, Randy Bina, and I were going to Fargo for a North Dakota Recreation and Park Association meeting. And they said, this guy from the Dickinson Park District was going to ride along with us. This guy was this guy. And I'm sure that after 2.5 hours to Fargo and 2.5 hours back with me, he was, first of all, forever changed. And secondly, never wanted to be trapped in an enclosed space with me again. I think that was 2006. And of course, Kevin couldn't have been more gracious and kind. So fast forward 3 years to 2009, and Kevin was hired by Bismarck Parks and Recreation District for the second time in his career to open up a brand new facility, the BSE Aquatic and Wellness Center. I had the honor of working with you for the next 12 years. In 2021, I went into your office and told you I was retiring. And you looked at me with that famous Kevin Klipfeld look that we've all seen. There's really no expression. You know, you wonder if he's breathing. You wonder if you need a mirror below the nose, or do I do a pulse check? But you looked at me and you said, God, you're old. And now here you are. I stopped in Kevin's office early this week, and I asked him what were his biggest or his favorite memories of all his 30 years in Parks and Recreation. And I braced myself. What was it going to be? Was it a facility? Was it a program? Was it a park? Or was it a trail? Was it something in Valley City? Was it something in Dickinson? And he said, there isn't one. I've loved it all. So there it is. Someone who believes that public parks and recreation isn't his to have, but it's his to share. And I know you're delighted that when a kid learns to swim and when a basketball team has fun, and you love it when there's a concert at Sibley Park, or when a nonprofit has an event on our trails, or one of our partner organizations succeeds, when a golf course opens, when families come together in a park or a playground, when the ice is ready for the season, and when your sons played in a World Series in a ballpark in 2019. You've loved it all. You're a very lucky man. And thank you to you and also to your family, your wife, Kathy. She does have a name. He usually just says my wife, but she does have a name. And thank you to your sons, Alex, Jackson, and Carter, for sharing you, because I'm sure you lost lots of hours with them. So thank you and have fun.
Thank you. Kevin, I can't believe our Park District journey is coming to a close. I was the Park Board President when you were appointed as Executive Director, and I just had great confidence in you and your abilities, and you did not disappoint. So it's been a true pleasure working with you. I sincerely appreciate your prompt communication and thoughtful engagement throughout our time together. During its 100-year history, Bismarck Parks and Recreation District has had only 5 executive directors, and I've had the distinct privilege of serving with and learning from 3 of them. So thank you for that, for being one of them. Each brought their own style of leadership and vision. At times, I even wondered, lightheartedly, whether I might be the common thread for their departures. Kevin, I hope you take pride in the meaningful contribution you brought to the Bismarck Parks and Recreation District and for the lasting impact you have made in Bismarck. It's been amazing. So as you embark on this next phase of your life, I hope you will stay in touch. And don't worry, I promise to respect your retirement by not reaching out after 5 p.m. with random thoughts, ideas, or questions. I have learned a great deal from you and will carry those insights with me as I move forward. So enjoy your upcoming baseball stadium tour. I hope you have the opportunity to experience some amazing ballparks and games, see some of your heroes, and perhaps even catch a home run ball or two. So with warmest regards, I sign off as your favorite park board commissioner ever.
Well, thanks, Kevin. I wrote this in your card, but you won't be able to read my handwriting anyway, so I'll just repeat it. But I've known you in this capacity, the smallest amount of time. I think some of the first conversations we had, I think I said, I'm probably going to be a pain in the butt, but hopefully I'm a helpful pain in the butt. And then when you told us, or you asked us to come in the office and you said you were retiring, I think the first thing I said was, oh my God, it was me. But we sat there and had more than an hour-long conversation about my time working at the Downtowners and how we've worked with Parks and Rec. It was probably the best conversation I think that you and I have had, and it was great, I think, to understand you more and what you really bring to this and what you really, some people might say, oh yeah, we want people to have parks and access, but you believe it in the inner core of your being, which I think is just says a lot about you. I put in your card that I think at times public service, especially right now, when we've been talking about the public comment period, it's not an easy thing to do. I remember when I started here, I'd get calls from city staff and they'd say, Kevin is at the Park District office. It's a Sunday. His car is parked there. Can you get him, to just go home and relax? And I said, I'll try, but I don't think that's Kevin. And you've just been so dedicated. You've been loyal. You've been steady. Something that the Park District has really benefited from. And so I've enjoyed getting to know you. I hope, we get to see you more. You've always answered all of my questions, and there have been numerous questions, and I appreciate you being patient with me and being my first executive director here as a park commissioner. So thanks to you and your whole family. It's a stressful job, but you've done a successful job, and I hope that you look back on it and are very proud of your legacy. So thank you.
Well, you all spoke quite eloquently, so it's my luck to not have to add a whole lot, but I can agree, and I would add that for me, the 2 years serving as president, to meet every Thursday morning at 7 a.m., there were, some mornings that I thought, oh my goodness, do I need to, comb my hair and get over there? But it was great, Kevin. I mean, I truly, as I've said numerous times, in these 2 years, we had some decisions with the district and some of our partners, and I looked to Kevin to have the information, to present it in a thoughtful way when I would visit with him on Thursday mornings, knowing that he would have all the background information. And all the calls that I would receive in the interim, when there was something going on in the district, Kevin would call me and say, I'm also calling all the other commissioners, and I appreciated that. So, sometimes you think, well, technically, the board is the boss of the executive director, but I certainly don't see it that way. I've seen Kevin as the mentor, as a good friend in the last 2 years, to be able to sit with him and discuss it and freely give my opinions or my thought on some of the issues we had, and know that, we could work through that. So I look forward. I will be leaving the board as well, so I'll follow Kevin out the door. But I want to thank Kevin for 2 years, and when I served as the board president, to know you were there. You always had the information, and you were just a steady guy. So thank you. On behalf of all of us, I want to thank you for your service. But I'm going to ask the commissioners to not leave right away. I said to Kevin this morning, I don't have a formal picture of the commissioners with our director. Many times we've stood up front here when someone receives an award, and that's great, but I would like to have a nice formal picture. So please don't leave. Dana is still here. She's our unofficial photographer for the district. We'd ask her to take a great picture. So again, Kevin, thank you so much. We wish you all the best in your retirement, and we look forward to seeing you around. Do you wish to make a... No, I said I wouldn't do that. That's right. I did it anyway. Okay. So the next regular board meeting is June 18, 2026 at 5:15 here at the Tom Baker Meeting Room. And I've just add, please, folks listening, vote June 8th? 9, yikes. June, well, you can tell I'm not, yeah, you can vote early, but please vote for all the offices, positions open. The meeting is adjourned.